Beyond the hype and the benchmarks, Gemini 3 has unlocked AI use cases that simply weren't feasible before. I want to show you one powerful example, but first let's talk about Gemini 3 and how it stacks up against the competition. People are calling Gemini 3 the best model full stop, and looking at its benchmark performance, you can see why. There's a reason for all of this hype. Take Humanity's Last Exam, for instance, created by the Center for AI Safety and Scale AI. It tests how close models are to expert-level academic reasoning. The emphasis here is on reasoning, not simple pattern matching. 14% of the questions require understanding diagrams or figures. 24% are multiple choice. Coverage spans everything from humanities and social sciences to maths and engineering. Questions come from 1,000 human experts across 500 institutions in 50 countries. We're talking professors, we're talking researchers, and graduate degree holders. Gemini 3 beats the competition on Humanity's Last Exam. It scores 37.5%, whilst GPT 5.1 manages just 26.5%. Still a long way from saturating the benchmark, but miles ahead of its nearest competitor. These are the benchmarks you'll hear about constantly when people claim Gemini 3 is the undisputed champion of language models. Gemini beats the competition on many other benchmarks too, and DeepMind proudly showcases this on their website. But whenever massive hype surrounds a model, ask yourself this: what aren't they showing me? These frontier labs likely pay substantial sums to AI influencers with massive followings to hype up their products. This creates a sort of sampling bias. They promote benchmarks where the model excels while staying quiet about areas where it doesn't lead the pack. This behavior makes perfect sense for both the labs and the influencers. Enormous investments go into training these models, so of course they'll promote them aggressively. But this doesn't help practitioners, entrepreneurs, engineers, product managers, or anyone who needs to make these models work in the real world. Let's examine benchmarks where Gemini 3 struggles. Scale AI's professional reasoning benchmarks for finance and law measure model performance on high-stakes professional tasks. They address real-world gaps that academic benchmarks miss, where domain expertise, nuanced judgment, and contextual understanding actually matter. Look at the finance benchmark on your screen right now. Gemini 3 falls behind other frontier models, landing at number 8. The legal benchmark shows the same pattern, with Gemini 3 hitting number 6. By the time you watch this, things might have changed. Labs constantly update these models and release new checkpoints. But my core point remains: you must understand which benchmarks matter for your specific use case. Don't get swept up by the claims about the best model ever. And definitely don't fall for those flashy one-shot coding demos showing models building solar systems or entire multiplayer games. They're impressive demonstrations of coding ability, sure, but they're designed to dazzle you, not demonstrate practical utility for real tasks beyond toy problems. That said, Gemini 3 is genuinely impressive. Key benchmarks reveal how Gemini 3 enables previously impossible use cases. Two stand out: video understanding and multimodal understanding. These measure reasoning across video, text, and images simultaneously. Gemini 3 has broken through the 80% barrier on both. 81% on the Multimodal Pro benchmark and 87% on the Video Multimodal benchmark. These scores reveal where Gemini 3 and Google are genuinely pulling away from competitors. With additional scaffolding built on Gemini's foundations, we could push these scores even higher. I've integrated Gemini 3 into the BrainCube fact checker. It now interprets images and video, not just text. Feed it a YouTube video link and it understands the content using Gemini 3's multimodal reasoning. Then it extracts claims, fact checks them, and hunts for corroborating sources across the internet. For images, the fact checker attempts to detect AI-generated content. It analyzes what's happening in the image, then searches for evidence that the event actually occurred in news reports or other sources. The link's in the description. These workflows weren't really reliable until Gemini 3 arrived. Know which models excel at what, look past the hype, and you'll know exactly where to deploy them effectively. That's your real takeaway. Let me leave you with this thought about AI progress. When we measure benchmark performance, we're measuring accuracy a lot of the time, the percentage of correct answers. Two things should strike you immediately. First, benchmarks guide us, but they're not gospel. The wild performance variations across different benchmarks should show you that these language models don't necessarily generalize well. They need specific scaffolding, custom workflows wrapped around them to excel at tasks you actually care about. Second, getting models reliable enough for professional environments demands serious engineering. In law or finance, mistakes can cost millions. Consider the difference between 99% accuracy and 99.9% accuracy. 99% accuracy means one error per 100 decisions. 99.9% means one error per 1,000. I guess you see the problem. If an agent makes thousands of high-stakes decisions daily or monthly, 99% accuracy becomes genuinely dangerous. That's potentially dozens of costly errors every single day. Right now, professional benchmarks haven't even crossed 80%. That's something that you should be mindful of. Models will keep improving and eventually we'll get there, but this is why I advocate for augmentation over full autonomy, why I resist the hype about AI replacing human judgment, at least for now. There's much more to discuss here, but that's for another video.